Artist to Artist with Elle. I'll let her take it from here and tell a little bit about herself. So, Elle, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into yoga.
So, my name is Elle, and I'm a transplant New Yorker, and I got into yoga almost 17 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, I was in university, there was a free class being offered, and so I decided to take it with my mother and my best friend, and had no idea what I was getting into. This was pre-Lululemon, and totally just fell in love with this experience of breathing and moving my body consciously, which were two things that I hadn't done before. And I really just thought that this experience was so amazing, this sort of like natural high, that I continued on with it just to sort of see where it could take me, and not just on a physical level, but also then mentally and energetically, these tremendous shifts.
So before then, you never thought about it?
Never thought about it. I heard a little bit about it. Thought it was a little curious, but no. And if you ever asked me if I thought I'd be a yoga consultant, I would never have thought that.
Okay, so what was one of your major pitfalls you had to overcome that was kind of preventing you from doing this full time?
I think part of, what every entrepreneur struggles with is that sort of initial, can I do this full time? Can I, make a living doing something that I love and that I'm passionate about? So it was more me getting out of my own way.
Okay. Now, what is one of your, I guess, funny experiences starting out?
One of my funny experiences starting out is people pass gas in class.
Oh, wow.
It still happens. And I have to refrain. As one of my teachers says, it's not their gas, it's the gas. So, like that. Well timed.
Yes, it was. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself?
There's that saying that says, feel the fear and do it anyway. Just to go for it. Life is uncomfortable, life is challenging. I try to remind my students this on a regular basis, and that, we can breathe our way through anything. So it's really about embodying your best. Again, physically, mentally, and energetically, that's what I strive for personally, as well as professionally, and offering that to the people that I'm honored to work with.
So when you have conversations or you meet people, do you bring up what you do, or?
It often comes up in conversations, so I'm telling them as well. I'm a yoga consultant as well as an ergonomic and mindfulness consultant, so I work with people independently as well as couples and companies.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about that.
So basically, in terms of, again, working with people one-on-one, it's really customized to what they need in that moment of the session. So enhancing strength, balance, and flexibility. And again, we're talking about, initially, for many people, it's on the physical level, but then we begin to become more aware of our minds and the thoughts that we can hold or invest in. Okay. And just checking in and seeing which ones are really serving you. And from there, you can live more optimally by deleting the ones that you no longer need. And then energetically as well, we're all, I think, very busy, very stressed, overworked, especially in New York. So there's a real opportunity there to manage your energy more naturally and be able to, again, embody your best.
Nice. That's really good. So do you recommend meditating? Do you meditate?
Absolutely. I do. And I recommend any form of mindfulness practice. So for some people that is, in a seated posture. It doesn't have to be in lotus or with your ankle behind your head, but you can even meditate while you're walking through Central Park or going for a nice bike ride. For me, my meditation also entails paddleboarding and snowboarding. Okay,
now I know, or I might be going out on a limb here, but yoga definitely concentrates on breathing. So give a tip for everyone about breathing correctly.
So what I invite people to do is, if you're open to it, placing your left hand just below your navel and your right hand just beneath your collarbones. And then you can take a deep breath into your left hand and breathe in up into your right. And as you exhale, you empty the breath from right hand down to the left hand. So again, breathing in left to right. And as you exhale, right to left. So you begin to stimulate more the parasympathetic nervous system. It's the opposite of fight or flight response. And by doing this as well, you might even visualize that you're breathing in up the front of your spine and exhaling down the back of your spine. So even this begins to also increase postural awareness, which is something that we all need. Because, you know, again, with our busy modern lives, many of us are forwarding, right? Sitting in front of computers for, you know, prolonged periods of time. I don't care who you are, that's just, you know, and again, these smartphones. So the idea, again, is that you're, you know, really lifting and embodying from the inside out. The other thing that I would encourage people to do is, you know, if there's something, whether it's stress or negativity, maybe a worry, breathe it out, right? So exhale it out of your system. And so as you breathe in, you can create more space for the opposites.
Okay. And what was the best business advice you ever received?
Best business advice I ever received? Yeah, I mean, not to sell yourself short. You know, it's to really, again, you know, ask for what you need in terms of networking, talking with people, building relationships. And it's not even so much, again, that this person could be your client, but even just getting the word out there, again, seeing what you can do for each other, as well as then, you know, not being afraid to ask for referrals or, again, you know, connecting people, because I love connecting people, and I feel like it's something that just comes naturally when you open yourself to that experience.
Okay. One of your best experiences doing what you're doing?
I feel, I mean, every day I'm so blessed and grateful to do what I do. Again, you know, I work with very busy, high-functioning, stressed out individuals, so I feel like even just giving them the opportunity, I mean, they're taking the time for themselves, so sharing, you know, that hour or 75 minutes with them so that they can hopefully create more space from the inside out, experience moments of relaxation, which again, we all need, is wonderful. And then again, being able to go into these companies and reach, you know, larger masses of people and encourage them to as well, right? Be more conscious of what they're embodying, how they're embodying them physically, mentally, and energetically, so that again, we're just living more optimal lives.
Gotcha. This makes a whole lot of sense when you think about it that way. I guess, what is something, since you've been doing this, since you know, recently went back to school, and since completing all of that, what do you feel are you really telling yourself as far as being successful?
I feel like successful is something, your success, I should say, right, is something that's not measured necessarily by dollars and cents. It's something that hopefully you feel good, you look forward to showing up to your quote-unquote job. And I don't really think about what I do as work per se. Commuting is commuting. And sometimes that's really not fun, but the idea of really being genuinely excited to be with the people that I'm with, to share the information that I share, and again, you know, seeing people in their process and being able to, you know, be a guide through that. I don't feel like I'm inventing the wheel with any of this. I've been very fortunate to have great teachers, but to be able to remember, because I think ultimately we all know these things deep down inside. We get distracted or derailed along the way, but being able to hopefully, again, you know, inspire people is my intention. And so, again, I'm just very honored and grateful to do this work.
So, someone, I guess, new, trying to start out and do what you do, what advice would you give them?
I would tell him or her to, you know, constantly make time for yourself. Easier said than done, because again, you know, for all of us, generally what tends to happen, right, is we, you know, can put ourselves sort of, you know, in the side seat. But make sure that you're taking that time, whether it's, again, you know, 5 or 10 minutes at the beginning or the end of every day, that you continue your own internal practice, whether again it's yoga, mindfulness, and or any other, you know, trainings as well. Very, very important. Again, you know, depending on where you are, but in New York City, this is like the best of the best, and the competition is fierce. But we're all here together, and I really believe as well, like, the pie is big enough for everyone. So again, like, you know, assisting and being there in terms of networking and referring people to is a good thing to practice.
Okay. And a yoga term or blessing that you normally give in one of your sessions. Can you give one and then explain it?
Well, the Sanskrit word is Shanti. It means peace. Peace, the acronym, one of my favorite mantras, if you will, which is basically like a slogan, for all intents and purposes, stands for positive energy, activates constant elevation. So I love that. It's something that really resonates with me. And again, that's what I'm aiming to live a peaceful existence. And positivity is a practice as well as peacefulness, but we must begin with it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I love the shoot. You got some great images. I can't wait to post them.
Mahalo.
And namaste.